Hi there guys, Reaper here, and in today's video I'm going to be taking a butcher's at Reigns. So Reigns I would try and describe it as a indie kingdom management simulator, however the connotations of that are perhaps not very accurate. It's not a kingdom management simulator like any others you would have encountered. Essentially you take the role as a king of a medieval or pseudo-medieval, if you like, kind of kingdom, and you're trying to manage, as you would in that sort of game, your resources. You're going to keep your treasury stocked, try and keep the faith happy and on your side, keep the populace happy and keep the military in good order. So you're going to keep, as you might think, all those in balance and all those operating as smoothly as possible. But the game's almost got kind of quite a comedic edge to it, and it's a very simple design, but it works very well. It makes for a very interesting game. Essentially, it's almost a parody of medieval rulership. Essentially, each of your kings, you're not just taking care of one king and then if something goes wrong you can like reload your save. When something goes wrong, it's not the same as with most games in the sense you'll have to kind of restart your save and then you'll have to keep making the right decision or doing the right thing to actually progress the game. Each of your kings, because you take control of dozens, depending on how long you play for, of kings, something is going to go wrong. Either you're going to make the wrong decision eventually, or just by luck or chance or certain encounters that hit you as a medieval ruler, things are going to go wrong. Your king is going to end up dead one way or another. But your king dying is not going to have the same connotations as your protagonist dying in most games. Your king dies, you then get a new one, and the idea is you have to try and experience, run things best you can, things are going to go wrong, and you get to experience all the different types of decisions you can make. You can meet certain characters as things go down the line, you'll meet new characters with new kings. You might not always make the same decision. Your king's going to die, but you're going to move on. You get to experience all the different, quite funny, dark humour deaths that your kings are going to experience. Things aren't always going to go your way, but then you get a new king, you make a new set of decisions, and the turnaround on them is quite quick, and you don't get annoyed when your king dies. It's quite humorous. You can see if I go back how long each of my kings have lasted. You can go back and sort of have a look down the line. I managed to get one king, managed to last 70 years in power, lasted until his old age. Other than that, some of them lasted longer than others, but things have gone wrong at various points, either through poor decision making or just by luck. Things are going to go wrong, but you kind of move on, and it's quite an interesting way of doing a game. It's not something I've really seen before, which is why I think this game has got a lot of people's attention. So that just gives you a brief look. Time goes on, each of your decisions counts as a year, and you've got to try and get your king to last as long as possible, but they're going to die, they get replaced, and each of your kings are going to be different. It adds a lot of character to the game. So I think I'm going to jump straight into my next king. So my last king lasted 15 years before he died. And we're going to move on to, no idea how to pronounce this. I'm going to say it's Baldwin. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, apologies. It's my 32nd king. 32nd king is what I was trying to say there. So I've been playing this quite a lot today. This is one of the few games I think I can make an accurate kind of video on the game, not having played more than about 3 or 4 hours, but I've been playing this game religiously since I picked it up today. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So what I'm going to do is go into the next kingdom management screen, and that's going to give you this screen here. So basically every decision you make is going to be controlled from here, so it's quite a simplistic game. So I'll briefly explain what's going on here. So at the top here, these are the 4 things you need to keep an eye on. So on the left, this cross represents your faith and the strength of your church. You've then got the populace, their general happiness and their health. You've then got the military, which is depicted by the sword here. And you've got this kind of currency symbol is going to be your treasury. So you've got these 4 things. You need to kind of keep these things as balanced as possible. So the idea is if any of these drop due to decisions that you make or due to just kind of random events that are going to happen to you, if any of these drop to 0, your king is going to die in a manner based on what happened. So for example, if your populace happiness drops to 0, in that year they're going to get so unhappy, your kingdom, your palace is going to get stormed, and they're going to lynch you for doing such a bad job. However, which is quite an interesting kind of mechanic of the game, if any of these get too high, you're also going to have a problem. That's also going to cause your king to die as well. So for example, the military, let's go with that one. I won't spoil too many of the things because they're quite interesting. I would say if the military gets too high, the army is going to become too strong for you to control. There might be a coup and your army are going to get you overthrown. However, perhaps if your faith goes too low, your faith is not going to be able to control the populace, and a pagan mob is essentially going to turn up. You're going to lose your kind of divine right, your divine status as a king. They're going to get rid of you because you haven't kept your kind of faith in order. Eventually, you're not going to be able to control these despite all the best decisions. As I said, things are going to go wrong, but it makes it quite an amusing situation. So it's quite a clever mechanic. You can't let any of these get too high or too low, and each decision you make is going to affect one or more of these things. So you've got to be very careful about these levels, not just dropping, but getting too out of hand as well. So each decision you make is going to be a year long, so it says 0 years in power. So if you make 22 decisions before your king dies for whatever reason, you'll have been in power for 22 years. That's the current year. It's now 1252. I believe the game starts at about 6:30, something like that. I don't know if it ends at a certain point because it's basically meant to be a kind of medieval zone. So I don't know if this gets to about like 1900, if that changes, or if it's just meant to go on endlessly because it's not obviously set in the real world. I'm not really sure, but the current year is 1252. On the bottom here, you've got these 4 squares. These represent some decisions as well as affecting these 4 factors at the top. Some decisions can have a more permanent impact. So, for example, one of my previous kings, a while ago actually now, about 100 years, or 100 decisions ago if you like, one of my kings, I decided to build a hospital, so it cost a bit of money out of my treasury, but the populace was a bit happier because I built a hospital. And also because I'd done that, if I got hit by a plague or anything like that, the kingdom has a hospital system built in place. So this depicts the fact that things won't be quite as bad in that respect because I have a hospital built. Some of these decisions will last through several kingdoms, such as the hospital. Some of them might only last until the end of the life of whatever king you're playing as. So it just gives you a way of some decisions may be a bit more permanent than you're expecting. These can come and go based on the decisions you make, but you might make some decisions, such as the building of the hospital, that may make a more permanent impact on your game. Most of them will go when your king dies, if you get one of these. However, some will last as the hospital, and this one here, which I'll explain a bit later on, kind of last. Some of them last a bit longer than that, which is quite an interesting thing. These quests, you could refer to them as quests, they're kind of little side objectives. You're not obliged by any means to meet them. Occasionally, as the game goes on, if you manage to achieve any of these objectives, when that king dies, you'll get a new one, which will give you a new objective when your next king starts. So if I complete 2 of these objectives by the time this king's die, when I go on to the next king, it will give me 2 new ones. And this is basically a way of introducing new characters and kind of new mechanics to the game. So it'll introduce, if maybe start a romance, if I get to that option, that will introduce new people, new options that I might not have had with previous kings. And then when that king dies, I'll get a new quest, and then I'll try and complete that. I might not complete that for another 3 or 4 kings, but eventually you'll complete that, and that will give you kind of new options and new cards. So as you go on, it just basically ensures a way of having new options and keeping the game a bit fresh with each new king. Well, that's the idea anyway. So each decision you'll get is binary, so it'll either be yes or no, or someone will come to you and say, we need to make a decision. It'll either be one decision or another, or someone will ask you to do something and you'll either go yes or no. So if I hover over yes here, for example, you see that little circle that's just appeared over the military icon. It's a small circle, which basically means if I say yes to this decision, the level of the military, it's going to have a small circle, which is a minor effect on the military. If I say no, it's going to have a minor effect on all of them. So the game will tell you which of these 4 factors are going to get affected. However, it's not going to tell you whether or not that will be a positive or a negative effect, or an up or down effect on the level. So you have to think, the game is going to give you a small hint or a small bit of guidance on what is going to be effective and what isn't. However, you have to think by how much, and is it going to be a positive or negative effect. So for example, this guy's telling me there's been a massive breakout from the prison, we need to organise a search party. If I say yes, that's probably going to make me lose a bit of military power, because the military, I've had to assign some of my military to go and deal with this prison breakout. If I say no, that could have wider connotations. So the military might remain at that level, it might get slightly stronger because I haven't kind of redirected any of it to deal with this. However, I might lose some money from the treasury. I might manage to keep a bit of money from the treasury. You have to think about how these 4 modules are going to be affected. So the church probably won't be happy because people are breaking out, might damage church land. The populace almost certainly aren't going to be happy because there's been a prison breakout. But I might retain a bit of money from the treasury because I haven't spent anything, or maybe there'll be some looting, so I might lose some money for the treasury. I think the easier option, because I'm not sure what effect it's going to have on all 4 of these, I'll just have a bit of expenditure, so my military level is going to drop slightly just to deal with that. We would like to build a school in the capital for the enlightenment of the people. So if I say yes, there's going to be a small circle above the faith and the populace. So the faith want this, so they're going to be happy if I do it. The populace is going to be happy because I'm teaching them. However, there's going to be a big circle above the treasury. There might be certain decisions you might want to make. However, you have to think there's going to be a big effect on that treasury. If that treasury hits 0, I'm out of the game. My king's going to die. So at this instance, I can probably afford it. However, that is going to put my treasury in danger. If I say no, the church is going to be very unhappy and the populace is going to be slightly unhappy. So I'm going to try and build it this time. So I've lost a bit of money from the treasury, but the populace is a bit happier. and the faith a bit happier. So remember, I need to keep an eye on all 4 of these levels as best I can. So the seer's come up to, he said, I see 1,000 boats full of tall and burly men. So we can say general, or we can say we all have our fantasies, say he's talking rubbish. If we say he's talking rubbish, the church might be happy because I'm not listening to this mystic that they're not kind of approving of. Populace might not be happy because I'm not heeding his advice. If I bring the general in, that's going to cost me a bit of money, I imagine, and that's severely going to weaken my military power because I'm going to have to send a bunch of my army off. So I think I'm going to say no to you. Oh, the populace got a bit happier actually, but the church weren't happy. That's the opposite of what I thought would happen. But okay, you have to try and interpret things best you can. There are too many people to execute. I need help from the army. If I do, the populace will probably be happy, but that will weaken my military power. And if I say no, that's going to affect the populace negatively. But remember, that's not necessarily a bad thing because the level's getting a bit high. It's generally easier. It's rarer to have it go up than down, I'd say, for a lot of these. So it's generally safer to have it a bit too high than a bit too low. But I can afford to drop it a bit here because just in case I don't want it going too high anyway. A fine company of your drunken soldiers ransacked an abbey. We want justice. So if I say yes, the church is going to be happy, but it's going to weaken the military. And it's going to have the opposite effect, but it's going to make the church very unhappy if I don't adhere to their will. But the military is going to get a little bit stronger because I've let them off, so I'm probably going to do that. So the church has dropped slightly, but the military's gone up, so that's maintained a relatively nice balance. You are so clever, my lord. You're an example to all of us. Some of these are a bit cryptic. I think the game deliberately throws cryptic ones at you. Some decisions you'll get won't even affect some of these nodules. It will just give you a weird sort of choice. You'll have to kind of just make a choice, and either nothing will happen, it might just be kind of a cryptic thing to kind of make you think or throw you off. It might have an impact later down the line, but not every decision you get will be a direct effect on any of these. Sometimes it will just be around a bunch of text, which you can give whatever answer, it won't make a difference. Sometimes it will make a difference down the line. So it just kind of keeps things fresh. So not every choice you get is binary, but not every choice you get is clear, I think is the idea. So it's always going to be a yes or no, or we'll do this option, or we'll do this option. But the repercussions might not always be obvious in a lot of cases. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. I'm just going to say, I've got to think. So this decision is not going to be obvious, but it's going to have a minor effect either on these two or these two. So if it goes down, that would be worse. If it goes up, that would be better. If these two go down, that's faith in populace. If it goes up, let's pick these two. Oh, it's gone up, so we got lucky there. If it went down, that would have been a problem. So he's now said, I've got a request. We've gained a large mountainous... We gained a large mountainous land on the eastern border. Would you consider giving it to me? So if I gave it yes, our military would probably be a bit stronger and I'd probably get a bit of money out of him. But the populace probably won't be happy about that. If I say no, populace might be a little bit happy about that. However, that might cost me a bit of money if I don't, and the military might not be as strong. Let's say yes. The military got a bit weaker. I didn't think that would happen. The populace weren't happy, but I got a bit of money, so that's not too bad. But unfortunately, thanks to Sir Henry's action, the mountainous region is now corrupt as well as unruly. That was quick. And calling back. This game doesn't really take itself very seriously, which is quite funny. Call him back, and I can try and get some dialogue options to deal with him. Or that was quick, basically just lets him get on with it. Let's call him back. So Henry is at the head of a large horde of half bandits. Should I send the army? If we do, that's going to make the military a bit weaker because we're going to have to deal with him. If I say no, the populace might not be happy. The populace is slightly higher than the military, but I don't like the idea of not. As well as these, you've got to think about wider connotations of the decision. So if I don't send the army to stop his horde, it'd either have an effect on the military negatively or the populace negatively. However, also think he might overthrow me. You've got to think kind of outside the box a few times as well. He might overthrow me if he turns up with a horde and I don't deal with him. So as well as just looking at the quantitative impact, if you like, on the actual numbers that's going to affect these decisions at the top, you have to think about the wider context of what the options you're giving. Let's send the army. He surrendered. If you let me live, I'll tell you where the bandit's treasure is. I don't want to let you live, so let's kill him. Although I could have got some money out of that, but I'd rather just kill him. We should organise a curfew. The streets of the capital are not safe at night. So if I say no, the military might remain a bit stronger, but the populace won't be happy. If I say yes, military might get a bit stronger, or maybe they'll get weaker because I'm assigning some of them to curfew. Let's say no. Oh, that made the military weaker. Bollocks. Some of the decisions you have can be quite difficult to interpret. That's part of the game, I suppose. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. This is your 20th birthday. We should celebrate. If I say yes, it's going to cost a lot of money. I don't know how that'll affect the military. The populace will probably be happy and the church will be happy because I'm the monarch. If I say no, the church will probably be unhappy. The populace will be unhappy and it might make me look weak. I'm going to risk the expenditure this time and go for it. It didn't cost too much and we got a bit of a boost. Our flag should be changed. It's really not fashionable. No, or so what are the options? Brown sprayed on a grey sky. These are again some of the cryptic decisions. I have no idea without any sort of outside guidance if these are going to benefit me or not. What should we go with? That's going to have a big effect on the population. Can I afford that? I'd rather try and avoid one that has a minor effect on the military, so let's try and avoid that. Orange cannon on a green canvas, so that probably means our military is going to be a bit happier about that because it's quite a militaristic flag. Populace and the populace might not be happy about that. Let's go with that. So yeah, as I thought, so the church and the populace weren't happy, but the military got a bit better, which we needed. The message says a small village in the eastern baronies created a golem general, which is going to pay to send the general out there, but the populace will probably be happy about that. If I say shut up, might keep the money, but the church might be angry. Let's do that. Oh, the church were happy. Maybe they didn't like the cryptic paganistic messages, I'm not sure. The hungry reptile lurks in the east. You should send me to investigate. So I think this one is, if I do investigate, it's going to cost me a bit of money to do so. If I don't, the military is going to be a bit weaker. So I paid for that. We can never be too prepared. You need to recruit more soldiers. That's going to cost too much. So I think if that, considering that's a big circle above the treasury, if I do pay to recruit a bunch of soldiers, the populace is going to be unhappy. The military will get stronger, but I'm going to run out of money, so I'm going to have to say no. But annoyingly, this is where the game gets very tricky. I'm kind of forced into this decision, but the military is going to get a lot weaker. I can't afford it to get much weaker than that. I'm willing to stay in your court to... I'm willing to stay in your court in order to help the understanding between our people. Yes or no? So the no, I think the church might like that because they don't like outside influence. So they might not like that quite a lot. I think if I do this, the church will be slightly annoyed. But I think everyone else will be happier. They're going to take a risk. That went pretty well. So the church was slightly annoyed, but everyone else got happier. I think basically the church is trying to avoid outside influence, essentially. An ambitious lizard is gathering the baronies to become a dragon and crush you. Send the army. I can't afford to do that because I've run out of military strength. Or ignore him. The populace might be angry. Let's try that. That was the lesser of two evils. The river drop is dry again. We should build a dam. Again, things are going to start going wrong very quickly here. If I say yes, I don't think I can quite afford that because it's not going to tell you exactly how far that's going to go down. I might just hang on with the treasury at the bottom, but it might run out. But then if I say no to the populace, that might run out as well. I think the populace is slightly higher, so I'm going to go and annoy them. So I managed to hang on, but they're very much not happy. We should trade with the Orient. We can offer the crown 10% of all profits made. So if I say no to that, the church might be happy because generally I think the church don't like trade with the Orient because I don't think they follow the same faith. I think I've kind of learned that over a few different playthroughs of this. Are the people going to be happy about the trade? I imagine so. Church might not be happy, but it's going to get me loads of money. And we've set up the Silk Road. So the Silk Road's just appeared down here at the bottom, so that's one of our more permanent decisions. And that, just periodically over time, the treasury is going to go up because we're getting the profits from the Silk Road. However, there's a bigger chance, as the game is telling me, of being invaded. And again, remember, if this goes fills up to the top, that's going to be bad news for me. So we actually need to make sure we spend that money as it comes in, or things are going to go wrong. We lost the war, my king. We have to accept our enemy's conditions. If I say no, or if I say yes, right. I don't think this is a good decision either way. If I say yes, I think it's going to have a more minor effect. So I think we're just going to have to roll with that. Don't tell me I see a king. So this is one of the more cryptic things. When you see the seer, he's very cryptic. I don't think these decisions have any effect. Full of glory and regal composure, in front of him lay a dog or ruins. I don't know what these answers are meant to mean. In the end of all things, the Iron will play as well. I don't know if this actually has any effect later in the game or if it's just there to annoy you. That will be 600 gold pieces. If I tell him to piss off, everyone else is going to be angry. So let's just give him his money, and because I need to get rid of the money. Who's in charge of this bird? Or thank you. I would like to meet up with some of my scientist friends in your castle. I can't do that because the church don't like it. This country is rich, and now you're about to see one of the connotations of having too much money. The year's ended. My treasury's full. As I've said, if any of these get to the top, things are going to go wrong. So the Silk Road eventually did me in there because my treasury's reached to the full. Your country is so rich, we're going to throw a party to celebrate with the most expensive food money can buy. What? Don't have a decision. And you eat so much that you end up choking. Everyone is drunk, so your death is only noticed in the following morning. So unfortunately, our king died. The king is dead. Baldwin, as I said, I'm going to pronounce it Baldwin, 1252 to 1272. Lasted 20 years. And we move on to the next king. So that's him added to the list of previous kings. So we're on to the next one. William, the 33rd king, didn't complete any quests. I've still got the Silk Road going. That's one of the decisions that carried over. So if I can get a lot of decisions that I can use to spend money to increase these, that might be quite good. But if I can't get rid of that money, that's going to just give the same respondents. A group of fanatics have ransacked the hospital, pretending only God can heal them through your holy touch, my lord. If I say yes, the church is probably... I don't know what the connotations of this are actually, but I need to make a decision quickly because I'm about to get too full on money. Let's say no. I want to visit your godless neighbours, except if you need me here. No. Oh, I did not want to do that. Okay, I thought that would make him lose money, but that actually made me gain money, so I'm going to have the same result as I did last time. So I lasted 2 years. That King William lasted 2 years. Good job, mate. Well done. But again, no big deal. We're now on to Edward the 34th king, so let's do a bit more since we're still going. Still got the Silk Road. A foreign merchant is selling his new farming tools. We should copy his wares. Let's do that because it costs money. An explosion at the mine has killed at least 100 people. Should we continue digging? If we say yes, that would have a big negative impact on the population because they don't like having to dig in an explosive mine. So let's say no, which is going to cost us some money, but that's what we want to do at this point. We should build a library. Let's build a library because everyone gets happy and it costs money, which we need to get rid of. So you can use the Silk Road to your advantage if you get the right set of decisions. However, if you can't get rid of that money's going to be the end of you. I have a gift for you, but it has a price. You'll have to prove to me that you're a worthy king. Okay. Govern 15 years with the ailments of old age and we'll talk again. Okay. That's quite interesting. Okay, so he's now giving me the old age thing. So, you won't be able to hear or understand properly. Scared, you try very hard to hide your ailment from the court. Oh, that's quite interesting. I don't think I've encountered this before. So I've got to try and interpret quickly because I'm getting a lot of money what this guy wants to say. Is good, you spoiled, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what he says. You should try for... Oh, I didn't want to do that. Oh, I didn't know what he said because I've got the ailments of old age and I don't know what he said. I need to get rid of the Silk Road. 5 years in power he lasted. Right, I'm going to try and get a better run. This is what happens when things goes wrong. I've got another king called Baldwin. Maybe this guy can do a better job than the last one. Still got the Silk Road. Rex invites you to follow him. Alright. Rex brings you to a caravan in the marketplace. Enter the caravan. Oh, it's this bloke again. Again, sometimes you'll get repeat kind of dialogue options, but it is a bit of an occasional thing. That's the one gripe I would have with this game is... especially considering I don't even know what these decisions mean. This is a kind of cryptic one that I don't even know if it has any connotation, so I'm pretty much just... I need to go through this quickly at this point just to stop my money going too high. Fine, I have 600 gold. When you get them as a repeat, it's a little bit irritating. Your merchants are organising the spice trade for themselves. We could sell 10 times more if you open up the market. Let's not do that because we'll get loads of money, so let's say no and lose a bit. The people of a western village are afraid of goblins. You should take care of this. If it was her, the populace gets happy, but the church doesn't. If I do, the church is happy, the populace isn't. Let's do it that way round. The king of the west is offering to buy a small part of the country. No, because I've got too much money. Help us keep the trade flowing. No. Right, I finally managed to get rid of the Silk Road before that ran out. So that's good. Would you like to marry the young princess of a neighbouring kingdom? Yes. I should be able to get rid of this money if I need to. A ship has been quarantined. It may be the plague should be quarantined the whole port. Let's do that because we've got too much money, and the populace will be happy. My lord, the wolves are hunting our children. Can we hunt them? I'll hunt them myself. Or you're bluffing. I don't want to. There's a minor bonus to the faith, and there's a large either bonus or penalty to the treasury, so I don't want to do that. If I say I'll hunt them myself, I'll try and kill them myself. Unfortunately, that didn't go too well. You've suffered a terrible accident during the hunt. You're bleeding so much. Let me rest. I know from experience, I will spoil this. If you say let me rest, that's basically you're going to die. You just sort of let me die, Robert Baratheon style. I think it might be a reference, actually. What was the word he said in Game of Thrones? It was, give me something for the pain and let me die after we got murdered by a pig. So I think that might actually be a reference to that. Get a doctor. My lord, you're dying of gangrene. There's nothing I can do, so I ended up dying anyway. You die alone, rotting away in your bed. So not a great run of kings so far. Got a little bit of time. I'll try and do one more run. This is going to be my last king. If it go, I'll just end the video when this king dies, however long it lasts. So this video could be a bit longer than normal. A convent of nuns has started meowing like cats. It's spreading to the village. I'm going to send the army in, which is going to take a lot of military power. Or just ignore the church. Let's ignore the church and piss them off. The nuns kept meowing for ages. In the end, the church declared them heretics and burnt down the convent. This game's got a dark sense of humour. The folks in a remote village are teaching their children to spit on the king's men. Should we make an example? If we say no, the populace will be happy. If we say yes, they probably won't be, but the church will be. Yes, they were. That's quite a good balance. People want to watch you waking up and going to the bathroom. They will pay for the privilege. Really? So let's say, I think the military, I imagine the military and the church won't be happy about that, but I'll probably get some money and the populace will be happy. Or maybe he's just talking bollocks. I think this is one of the situations you'll have to try and interpret it. If I say no, I imagine they won't be happy and I won't get any money. I think, yeah, that worked out roughly like I said, I think. So they were happy and I got some money, but these two, the faith in the military looked a bit weak, judging by the fact I'm the king and they're paying me to piss, essentially. So we should spend some money to build a communal barn to prevent famine. Okay, let's do that. A little bit of money, but we can afford it. And we've got Providence. The barn was expensive, but it's good protection to avoid famine and the people's unrest. So again, a bit of a more permanent decision. While this is in effect, I think we're going to be a bit more protected against any sort of famine-based decisions or any sort of natural occurrences. So that should help us maybe be a bit more stable. We heard about a young princess being held against her will in Darkrock Castle. It's obviously a trap. The populace probably won't be happy about me leaving her to die. My horse. Let's go after him. So again, we get a few more dialogue options. It's kind of a random encounter. You ride to Darkrock in full armour, proud, glorious and glittering. Breathing fire. Are you the king? Are you here for the damsel? Yes. Oh good, there, take her. Okay. Nobody's killing anyone. You're here for the girl. There she is, end of story. Okay, I will admit I have encountered this one before. My hero. No. I don't know what kind of... No, is that a response? Let's just say yes, because I think... Okay, well, she's there now anyway. Are you backside? Did you enjoy our little entertainment? That dragon was not cheap. Who paid? Let's say who paid. Who paid? We lost a bit of money. The communal barn is on fire. Send the garrison. If I don't, everyone's going to be annoyed. I might lose a bit of money, but if I send the army, they're going to be a bit weak, but I'll send the army. That wasn't too bad. It was better than I thought. The school is an elaborate scheme to brainwash a whole generation with religious idiocies. Stop it. If I say no, church will be unhappy. Population. I don't know what to do here. Stop it. So if I say no, if I don't stop it, the church will be happy, the populace won't. If I say yes, the population will probably be very happy, but the church will be very unhappy. I don't want to piss off the church. Let's go with the minor decision. That balances out quite well. I can teach you a few things about white magic. So the church won't be happy about that, and it's going to cost me a bit of money, but I might be able to get something out of it. A way to find love. Something else. A way to learn happiness. Something else. A way to tempt fate. Let's do that. I wonder if that's going to have a decision later on. We need better defences. The barbarians of the Eastern Baronies at the border of our kingdom. So annoyingly, if I say no, the military might drop too low and I might not be able to recover it and we'll lose because of that. However, it's a minor effect on the treasury. However, that's going to be quite low as well. I'm going to have to do that. So I'm running out of money. Your parents are breeding like rabbits. The kingdom is infested by poverty. Please consider the problem. If I do, they'll be happy. If I don't, they'll be slightly unhappy. That's the better option. That's better than I thought it would be, actually. We should send all the males on the Holy Crusade to the Far East, let them die for the Holy Grail. That's quite a big decision. If I say no, church won't be happy, populace will. If I do, the church won't be very happy. However, I don't think I can afford it at this point. I might have tried it, because I think it changes it. Occasionally it will change the scenery around. But I just can't afford it. I think I'll automatically lose if I send them on Crusade, because it's very expensive. Military might get a bit stronger, or no, they might get weaker because they're off a Crusade, they can't defend the kingdom, so I'm going to have to say no to him. That's just a better decision. Your priests and monks are not the envoys of the Lord. I'm going to say they are, because I need them on my side. I would like to spend some time studying horticulture at the school. No, I need you in charge of the military. The East and the South are coordinating an attack against the kingdom. Should we ask the West for help? If I say yes, that's going to cost me a bit of money, which I can't afford. If I say no, the populace is going to be really unhappy, but there's nothing I can do. The river drop is flooding a large part of the country. We need help from the church and the army. Again, can't afford it. Going to have to say no, and the people are unhappy. Unfortunately, that's ended badly. Oh no, maybe I've got one. I've got a sliver of bit left. But the barn will provide food. Please bring reinforcements, or we will be overwhelmed by the most desperate. I'm going to have to help them out here. So just about saved that. I thought that was the end of it there. I think I had a tiny sliver of populace. Didn't want to kill me. Blackbird is not good. A kraken has been seen on the shores of the kingdom. Fishermen are terrified. Senate General can't afford it. Let's pray. I think the church will be happy about that. So that's not too bad. We need money to organise a spring festival. Can't do it. Shall we go to the spring festival? I can invite some of my pretty friends to entertain your foreign visitors. Again, if we say yes, I don't think I can afford it. If I say no, the church is slightly happy about that. That's fine. I could build a hospital to prevent a surge of epidemics. Can't afford it. What about the doctor? Sire, your urine smells horrendous this morning. You should avoid riding for a while. I don't want to do that because that will weaken the military. Do I really have to tell you why the doctor can't run the hospital? No. I didn't intend to. What about the hospital? No, can't afford it. Oh, there's a tiny bit of that left. I think I'm 20 years, things going round. A young woman claims that her son is in fact your bastard. Should we make this problem disappear? If we don't, it's going to cost us money. Or it might not cost us money. If we do, the populace aren't going to be happy. They're going to overrun me, so we're going to have to hope. No, we ran out of money. Your country is ruined, my lord. Merchants and nobility own everything. That was a bit dark, Jesus. You're tortured and your body is thrown to the dogs. Your name becomes an insult. So I managed to get 21 years out of Harry that time. So I think that pretty much broadly explains the game. It's a very unique game. This is kind of the cool thing you get about sort of indie games like this. It's light-hearted. It's basic. It's not really annoying when you die. You do your best you can. But it's quite a clever mechanic in the fact that basically your kings are essentially doomed to fail. And it's just amusing seeing what fate befalls each one, making slightly different decisions each time, and just seeing what happens every time you get a new king. So I think that broadly explains what was going on there. So hopefully I've made everything clear. If you have any more questions about the game, please let me know. But I think this is a really cool, quirky little title. And when I bought this today on Steam, it was £2. So even if you really end up not liking the game, you don't get much use out of it, you've lost £2, or whatever the equivalent is in your country of residence. However, it's, especially for the price, even despite that, I've been playing for this several hours today just alone. It's a really fun little quirky game, and it's just the replayability factor and just meeting new characters each time, making new decisions. It's just really interesting. It's just a really cool quirky way, light-hearted humour, and I think we'll leave it at that. So thank you very much guys for watching. I'd recommend you pick this up if you seem interested in the content. Other than that, if you've got any more questions, please let me know below in the comments. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.